Good morning. How are you all doing? Let's have a little sip. So I had a last minute cancellation with a client. Um, so to be productive and all that jazz, I'm gonna bang out one of these quick little videos. So we're looking at bench here today. Here's Mark. Mark's been in with me for a while now. His bench is coming together a lot. We're just kind of trying to nail his bar path. Um, just so it's consistent because there's some all right bar paths in here, and there's some that could do with a bit more work. But yeah, we're getting there, and his weights are creeping up quite nicely as well. So let's look at this idea of how to set up a bench. So let's just say you were coming to me the first time. What are we going to look at? So I describe the following before we go anywhere. Benching with correct form in that your body is braced and positioned correctly is like starting the 100-meter sprint on the running blocks, okay, the starting blocks. Not bracing, not holding a good position at the start is like starting the 100-meter sprint in the sandbox of the long jump area. Okay, we want a solid structure in which we're going to perform the exercise on. So the first thing you got to think about is where you want to position your body weight for the bench, and you want to position your body weight here, the upper back, okay, behind the shoulders. So to do that, you're going to use your feet to push there. Your feet are going to push that way. So the return on that is that your body weight is being pushed that way up onto your upper back. Okay, so you're driving the feet in to get the upper back happening. Now, something that I find quite useful for people is to advise them to try and flatten their neck. Because if you try and flatten your neck, or as we call it here, give me the double chin, okay, you do that, you pop your chest up and you immediately are onto your upper back where you should be on the bench. So I quite like flat neck cue. And then we really want to be thinking about retracting these shoulders, using your lats to pin them in. Because otherwise, if I have a bencher and they're saying, oh, I'm getting really sore shoulders, and I look at the bench, quite often they're not pinning their shoulders in. We've all been guilty of it. So those are kind of my go-to things. It's very basic. The leg is driving here, and you're pinned up at the upper back. And when the two forces are coming together, this body becomes much more rigid. So with regards to bar path, um, all you got to remember is that as a good starting point, or as a good general rule of thumb, if you come down, ideally you want to come behind that line. Now, obviously, Mark is coming in front of that line, and we're going to talk about why in a second. But you'd ideally come behind that line. Now, he has a couple of reps in here where that's actually quite a classic little um, bar path for bench, so that's okay. But it contains something that I'm trying to iron out with Mark. That's much better. And then that's again the big swoop. I know the swoop happens a lot, right? I'm aware of that, and I know that's in. If you go and you look at bar paths within many of these lifting books, like the Boris Shako books have lots of different diagrams on the bar paths. I know you'll see these loops. Uh, I get that, but there's one thing that I try and get my lifters to avoid, and that is the roll forward of the forearm. Okay, so when you get down to the chest and you're sinking into the chest, and then that shows a little loop. Okay, fair enough, but I want to teach at the beginning that your forearms come down and they maintain that vertical angle. I'm okay with a wee tilt like that, where the elbow's forward, and the wrist is back a little bit. But that is not a good benching position in my opinion. And even when I just do that there now, that's just bye bye rotator cuff central. It's a lot of strain, and you're not going to be in a good position to press to the best of your ability there. So that's kind of my little bit on bench to get things rolling. But on the final note, I would say as well, I spent all my this year's been really good for my bench. I've really worked a lot of things out, and I think I owe a lot of that to, well, obviously my coaching is programming, but I owe a lot of that to really learning how to control the weight on the way down and where it's being positioned at the drop onto the chest. So, with that being said, by the way, another great cue is to, instead of thinking the bar down, think chest up to bar. That'll obviously keep you thinking. Obviously, you bring your chest up the bar. What you do is you compress your back, so that'll help you keep your back pretty rigid. Um, but I think the controlling of the weight on the eccentric is massive. It's so important, and I'm a big believer in that. If you can control the weight coming down, it's most likely to come back up. I'm the same with squat. I'm not big into slut dropping it um, into the hole. All right. Is it an Australian strength coach? He was talking about this the other day. Control it down. It may be okay for a wee bounce at the bottom, but your speed coming down should be uh, all sort of the same as it coming up. That's not always going to happen, depending on the power that you have coming out of the hole. But I get what he's saying, and I somewhat agree with that. Guys, I'll leave you with that. I'm going to finish this coffee because you can probably tell from my voice, I'm absolutely shattered. Love you all. Peace out.